Sarandos certainly seems to be laying the groundwork for original films beyond documentaries. Sarandos also made headlines a week ago for suggesting movie theater owners are stifling innovation. I started by asking him about the feedback he's been getting from those comments.
The speech was to a group of independent filmmakers. The speech was in praise of television and the fact that partially because of the really innovative distribution models that TV has adopted, that some of the most amazing work in the world is being done on television. And I feel like what's happening is that television is kind of displacing movies in the culture in a way. The way that you sit around and used to talk about movies that you just saw, most people are sitting around talking about Breaking Bad or whatever they're watching on television now. And that the distribution model, by taking all the risk out of missing something, is one of the things that are fueling it. And I had made the comment that, in contrast, that most major motion pictures are distributed in the exact same way that they have been for years, which is, this long window between the theater and the first exploitation on DVD or VOD. So it was meant to be a simple kind of contrasting what's happening on television. It should be noted that I love going to the movies, and I love the theater. And I wasn't calling for day and date with Netflix. I was just calling to move all the windows up to get closer to what the consumer wants. Because really, our whole drive at Netflix was innovating on behalf of the consumer, getting the consumer closer and closer to what they want. I think there's a better business in giving people what they want than creating artificial distance between the product and the consumer. And to answer your question, I've had mostly great feedback from people who said we've been having this conversation for a long time and no one wants to say it out loud. And from theater owners, mostly I heard from Jon directly, but no theater owners directly.
But to your point, there are a lot of people who have been saying there is this need for an update or a change in terms of how that process works. Yeah. If you were a movie theater owner, what would you do looking at all these ways that, seem to be attacking your business?
I don't know. Our business is hard enough. I wouldn't want to try to run theaters too. So.
Okay, but
the one thing I would do is I'd say the overarching one is, if you know what your customers want, and I think everyone kind of universally agrees that earlier access to those movies and other models, besides having to get in the car and drive to the theater, particularly since a huge chunk of the population lives nowhere near a theater showing most of these films, that being able to accelerate access to them is going to be in their favor, and figuring out how to monetize that in a way would be helpful.
The comments that you made, coupled with some comments that you made on your company conference call, make it very clear that you are thinking about Netflix's next step, possibly with movies. Even today, you guys acquired a very hot documentary. If we think about this possible move by Netflix into, film as we think about it, big films, hypothetically, if you guys were going to make a film that cost, I don't know, $20 million, $100 million, what would be the process? Is this something that you guys would distribute only through Netflix? Is it something you'd want to distribute through the theaters? What if it's, there's some 3D component? I mean, there's all these things that everybody's curious about right now.
Well, what I'd said then, and I'm repeating it, is we're keeping our mind wide open in terms of what these projects will look like. The range of our original series have been quite broad in terms of what kinds of shows they are, how much they cost, all of those things. So I imagine this will be as well. And certain films I do think have a natural theatrical component, like you say, 3D, something you can't do at home. So, and there are plenty of experiences, like seeing Gravity in 3D is a phenomenal experience in a movie theater, but most people are going to see Gravity in 2D at home. So I think that there's no reason these have to happen 6 months apart. So as we explore these things, if these things have a theatrical component, we of course would seek screens for them to be out there, just to offer more choice.
So you guys are actively looking at film projects right now, is that?
Yeah, we've been inbounding a lot of projects, yeah.
I mean, do you feel like you have found something that might be, your House of Cards in a movie version?
I'd say we're not at a short list yet.
No short list yet.
Yeah. But looking, like I said, completely open-minded about the size and scale and scope of what they could be.
And as for Netflix plans for original shows for TV, Sarandos said he expects there will be a third season of both House of Cards and Orange is the New Black.